Time has come. Execute Order 66.
Yes, my lord.
Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow.
Keep my wife's name out your
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
He's back!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. And at long last, it is finally time. The final time that you'll all be able to see at least this version of me. Well, guys, today we are here for my review of Clementine Book 3, the final chapter of this atrocious comic/book series. We started with the initial comic 4 years ago. We had Clementine Book 1 over 3 years ago, Clementine Book 2 over a year ago, and now the final one. This will be it. I will be done discussing, covering any of that, unless there's some kind of secret, another announcement they do with this, but this is it. The final chapter, the ending of this atrocious series. Now, if you want to see my live stream of it, we did a live reading of it where I went through the entire book in its entirety. You can go check that out, linked in the description down below. But I'm not going to go through every single thing with this book because, like I said, we'd be here for hours, and I'm sure you'd love for me to rant on this for hours and hours and hours, but I think I have a life, you guys have lives, and we're going to probably put this around the 20-minute-ish mark. So I am going to do a summary of the book, talk about what I think, and where does Clementine and The Walking Dead go from here, because this is it. There is no other books to look forward to, no other comics, nothing with Clementine. Do they finally let Clementine rest? Do they bring her back in the game? Do they do something new? If you guys have missed any of my reviews on the other books/comics for Clementine, check them out. But I just want to thank you guys so much for all the support. I never would have thought we'd have this many people supporting us, but we as a community united and stood up to this crap, and hopefully Skybound will come to their senses, and if they do end up doing something new, especially in the games front, that they put some dang passion into it, put some dang story into it, and hire some people that play the games, that know the story, that understand the characters and the complexities and the world. Not just hiring someone that had to rush through the games the first time.
Now that I've played all the games multiple times, I also am like an extreme fan of Clementine, and I would also hurt someone who hurts her. So I sort of identify now with the people who take her story so seriously. I love her. And I feel like I can do my best for her. So I hope that I'm coming from a good place.
I'm gonna start this review off with a synopsis where I basically cut you guys up a little bit on the first two books. There's not much I'm gonna discuss, but we'll do that, and then we'll go into the nitty-gritty with the book. All right, if you guys do enjoy this, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy this. If we go for 3,000 likes on this video, I greatly would appreciate it. Since it is the last one, the final review, greatly would appreciate it. And over 30% of people are subscribed, and the red subscribe button, notification bell, have it set all, and join over the 101,000 people that all notifications around for the channel. Give a day with The Walking Dead, Telltale, or any other content I cover on this channel. I want to thank y'all so much for watching this review, and let's get straight into it. I want to make this very clear, y'all, to please keep your comments to Skybound or Tilly Walden respectful and civil, please. This is Tilly Walden's last hurrah. She is done with Clementine. So now all eyes go back to you, Skybound.
Nobody believes in you. What are you prepared to do about it?
And I'm not going to go too much into all what's, the catch-up, but pretty much it started with a comic 4 years ago. And in that comic, Clementine does probably the worst thing that she did in this entire trilogy, which is leave AJ and leave the school behind. That's pretty much the summary of the first comic, which was about 12 pages, and it makes no sense. You end up finding out through the first book and second book that it really turned down to Clementine leaving the school because she didn't feel right, she felt like a burden, she didn't want to see no one else die, and she felt AJ had a safe place at the school. Complete BS. You know, in the game, we have all these examples.
Rule. Never go alone.
I'm not going anywhere. Not anytime soon.
You don't mean that.
I want to be alone.
Please don't be mad. I can't live with you not with me, Clem.
I'm all AJ has. He's all I have. And I'll protect him with my life. Just like Lee did for me.
I mean, see, it's just flat out disrespectful to the character to literally abandon the boy that she's been with for years. And to make a simple, stupid cop-out saying that, oh, she doesn't want to have that burden. Oh, it's too much pressure. Oh, she doesn't want to see anyone die. When the whole final season, how many times does she remind you, never go alone. I'll always be there for you. We'll be together. Like, yes, like, it's basically, in essence, a parent abandoning their child. Because I see Clementine as a surrogate parent to AJ. So in book 1, Clementine goes off on her own, ends up finding this group. Basically, the premise is there was this new character that's introduced named Rika. I don't want to get into everything with Rika, but we do know it's very weird, their dynamic and how it just comes out of nowhere and they suddenly love each other and all that. Their romance becomes like official in the first book and they end up like kissing at the end of the book or whatever. Basically, there's a little remnants of the teenage group from the first book that pop up in the second book because there have been those twins. One of the twins survives. They end up being pregnant. They are pregnant with Amos's child. Amos being one of the group members in the first book, which is an okay character, but listen, in essence, Evan Tilly Walden ends up almost killing off every decent character in this book. They have this group that they meet in the second book, which is Miss Morrow. Basically, everything goes to shit. Big fight breaks out. Island gets invaded. Clementine, everyone kind of escapes. There's a couple more deaths, but they end up getting one of the group members from Miss Morrow's group and end up like flying away. So, in essence, the book ends on a blank scene. Yes, I ranted plenty about this over a year ago. Yes, it ends on a blank scene. And I don't want to say it because of YouTube, but you know what I mean. I go watch my Clementine Book 2 review if you really want to know the full details of that. And I thought it was absolutely sickening that they had this romance basically blossom out of nowhere and they want to end it with that crap. Listen, I'm not here for a romance novel. This is the freaking Walking Dead, man. Like, this honestly was just ridiculous to even have to see. So all that leads into Clementine Book 3, where Clementine finally has it all. A safe place to live, not like she had it in the final season. A girlfriend, not like determinately she had in the final season / boyfriend. And even a cat, not like she had a dog in the final season either. But nothing lasts forever. And when Clementine suffers a loss unlike anything she's ever faced, a new mentor called the Gardener offers her a new family and a new way of living, but at what cost? It's actually going to be, unless something pops up, the last comic book or book in the Walking Dead comic universe at the current moment. What a crummy way to end it, man. So people are going to wonder, well, what happens in the book? How does it end? How does Tilly Walden decide to end Clementine's story, at least at this current juncture? Does she go back to the school? Does she reunite with AJ? Does she end up even living? Well, let's go through all that. So Clementine Book 3 opens up with Clementine in frickin' Greenland, of all places. She's not even in America anymore. They took, I think a plane or something at the end of Book 2. So there they are. And we get to see that eventually Olivia will give birth to Amos's child. Again, most of this first chapter or two is talking about child labor. And one of my biggest complaints with this book is just that a lot of the language is not even English. And again, it's understandable. They're in Greenland, yes. But man, you're not even going to give me an explanation or try to explain this. I had to look up a lot of the terminology that was even said in this. So that was just fantastic. I already, not invested as is. So reading it was just, probably more funny trying to pronounce everything, because I'll be honest, I couldn't pronounce most of the words anyway. So all that happens. We get these new characters. Derek, Sa, Arnie, Arnett, the Gardener, like, it's a bunch of people that really, in essence, don't matter. I guess the only one that really matters to me is probably the Gardener, because it's the main antagonist. And chapter 2 is pretty much nearly the same, where they, they check on Olivia after the childbirth and all the baby and stuff to make sure everything's okay. Chapter 2 kind of ends on a major thing that happens. So one of my biggest complaints with these books has been the character of Rika. And I can't lie with you. I don't know if this was Tilly Walden listening to the people complain or just a simple cop-out death. Because I'm going to be honest, this is just one of the most random things happening. Like, maybe I expected them to do something with Rika, but basically what ends up happening is Clementine and Rika are walking back after a long day, and Rika gets a headache, and says, like, Clementine, I don't feel really well, and then suddenly collapses. The assistant runs over, checks on her pulse, and apologizes for pulling out his gun out, and Clementine's held back as the man pretty much puts the gun to Rika's head and shoots her. Because I guess they suddenly knew that Rika just gets a headache, aneurysm, I don't know what you want to call it. Rika just freaking passes out and dies. She's dead! Like I said, a lot of people celebrate that. I even celebrate it, but man, how freaking stupid of a way to kill off a character. Like, especially people, if anyone actually here even liked Rika. Damn. Just what a crummy way just to kill off a character like that. So Rika's dead, even for the small portion of people that even liked Rika. Well, there you go. Now you really just have Clementine, Dr. Barnwell the cat, Olivia, Fen, and the baby. And Clementine, you know, I've seen Clementine cry a lot, but man, the amount of tears they would give Clementine, oh my god. They made this seem like it was worse than when Lee died. With all the freaking tears, and she's having like nightmares, and I mean, come on. This is getting ridiculous now. They're acting like this, Tilly Walden's acting like Clementine is closer to this Rika girl than she ever was to anyone else in her dang life. Absolutely ridiculous. And they didn't really have Clementine help much with the baby's birth, thinking back to it. You know, considering she witnessed AJ's birth and had to help a little bit with that. You know, but none of that frickin' matters. None of that is brought up. Who cares about the games? They're barely even referenced at all. I think there's 1 or 2 references in this book of the Telltale Walking Dead games. And they don't even reference much of the other books either. So it's like, wow, they don't really give a damn. So eventually Clementine meets up with this group, the Gardeners group. And, you know, because of all the stuff that happened with Rika, she kind of befriends this group. And this group's basically kind of like a girl squad that protects the settlement from infected. But they're very, I don't know, there's a little drama between the gardener and this other woman that's the head of the city. So there's always a little conflict there. And eventually this conflict turns between them. So eventually, you know, the gardener is planning to be, you know, I'm sick of protecting others. I know I'm sick of being used like that. And eventually she ends up deciding that she wants to end up not protecting someone anymore, wants to attack them. So, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic, I guess, but it's just like, okay, it eventually, like, it makes the other 3 chapters, not really much that happens. Like, listen, I'll be honest, I just, you know, when I was starting to read these final couple chapters, I was just bored. There's not much drama and chaos like a Walking Dead story would have. I mean, so eventually Clementine figures out that the freaking gardener is freaking crazy, and she tries to basically, you know, get the hell out of there. Just, you know, move on, get away from the gardener, betray her in sorts. And the gardener finds out, eventually ties up Clementine to the ground. Clementine, you know, while getting stuck in a, basically she's buried into the ground in front of a bunch of walkers, ends up finding a way to get out. Cat's there. The cat's just magically there. The cat doesn't get bitten or anything, but the cat's just chilling. And she eventually escapes. Which eventually leads to a fight between the gardeners group and the city group, and Clementine comes to butt in, and eventually the gardener and Clementine do a 1v1 duel where the gardener gets stabbed and she's killed. Again, a lot of this, I mean, I will say it's better than the first couple books in terms of how I was viewing it, but sometimes I was looking at some of these pages, and again, it's been the whole premise of these books. I understand, like, I've seen a lot of black and white comics in my day, and trust me, a lot of them are a lot more seeable than these. It's just another complaint I have with these books. I can barely see what's going on at times. It just infuriates me to my core. Chapter 8 started with like a flashback to the first book with Amos and the group, and they kind of catch up on a lot of stuff that had happened. You know, Clementine's just reminiscing and stuff. So eventually you find out that Clementine's back in the city, and, you know, she visits Rika's grave, da-da-da this, da-da-da that, talking about how school is going and life. And then she says something, if I ever love anyone again like I loved you, I'll tell them every day. You know, she never does anything like this with Lee. She barely brought up Lee like once or twice in the whole book, and now suddenly this Rika girl, who she's known for a couple months maybe, she's like, oh, you know, if I ever love again, I'll tell them about you every Get the hell out of here with that crap! So in essence, how the book ends is Clementine meets up, sees the baby and all them, And eventually she just says the final line. Everyone's waiting. She goes in. And that's it. Clementine doesn't go back to the school. Clementine doesn't go to see AJ. Clementine stays in Greenland, of all places. She ended up thanking Robert Kirkman, every person at Skybound, as she read this is the third and final book in the Clementine series. So that is it. It's kind of crazy. I kind of just went through a Cliff Notes version of it, because really, I just told you all, 85%, maybe 90% of this book is just uninteresting and boring and just a bunch of filler. Nothing that's gonna get you excited. The little details, because nobody gives a crap about the world. Nobody gives a crap about all the characters. There's just a bunch of unknowns. And I just love every single, it's kind of like the games, but in essence, where we're going, you know, we're going from different places. Every season we'd be in a different place with a different group. It's kind of like that with the books, but all the books have just a bunch of uninteresting characters. Maybe one interesting character, but that character is usually killed off or not given the time they properly need. A lot of this is just not built up properly. So you're just dealing with a bunch of baloney, in essence. And like I said, characters, again, I think this is, again, one of just the weakest, this might be the weakest book in terms of characters, because I'll be honest, I just really don't give a damn about most of the characters. Probably the only character I care about in this is Clementine. And this isn't even Clementine, this is Tangerine. Maybe Olivia and the baby, but I mean, my God, like, that's really much it. You killed Ricka. I mean, I didn't like Ricka anyway. It wasn't even close to it. And these other characters, who gives a damn about them? They're not relevant to the story much, if any. Overall, the characters stink. I can barely see. A lot of it is in a different language, so I can't really read it. The story is subpar at best. I mean, maybe I give you a point on the rating because you kill off Ricka. And the book just ends. It just ends. It ends with just Clementine staying in Greenland. There's no twist. That's it. You mean to tell me now, if you make a game based on this, you're gonna have Clementine in mother effing Greenland? What? They just don't give a damn about the games. They don't show any references to any of that. I mean, it's just, overall, again, it's the same mistakes every book has had. Uninteresting characters, boring story, maybe one or two plot twists that really, in essence, aren't anything special. I can't believe, listen, I'm not even a Ricka fan, and my God, how they just killed her off. No autopsy, no explanations. Maybe she had some underlying health issue, right? But you don't even really bother to say, oh, she had headaches, she was sick, she didn't feel, but like, just to kill off a character like that, it's just so lazy. To end the book the way you do with, like, I was just sitting there at the end, I'm like, that's it? That's the end of the book? You're gonna keep her in Greenland with this group? She's known for like a couple months, like, come on! It's pathetic! So you know what I would give my rating of this book? Because again, I would love to just hit every single point in this book, but like I said, there's no point. It's a comic book at the end of the day. It's a book. I don't give a dang about it. I'd probably give it legitimately, you know, surprisingly, the worst book to me was book 2 because of how the romance was just shoved in your face, and a lot of the story was just as bad, if not worse, than this book. This book probably had the worst story, in my opinion, of the 3. So I'd probably give it, like I said, a 2 out of 10. Realistically, I think the best book was book 1. I think book 1 I gave like a 4. Book 2 was like a freaking 1 or a 0.5. This one probably is a 2. In the comic, like, legitimately, I could give that almost a 0 because of just how bad it was in the 12 pages it was. So, I mean, I'd love to know you guys' ratings down below. I mean, most of you probably haven't even read this or even knew this existed because, I mean, I consistently and continually get comments about how people didn't even know these existed before, you know, I made these videos or review or even read them in the first place. So, overall, I'm just disappointed. I'm sad. I am just pissed off. But the light in the end of the tunnel is that this is it. We are done, and now we move to the section of this video is where do we go from here? Well, now that we know the Clementine books are over, it doesn't seem like they're ever going to return to that. Now they have possibly a couple options what they can do with Clementine's story. They either can continue it in a game / live action / whatever else they want to do. They can do a rework and pretend these don't exist and continue off the final season. They could do something new with new characters, bring back an old character like Javier or somebody. Or they could just let Clementine the Walking Dead rest in peace. We all know that's not going to happen, as indicated over a year ago that Skybound had a deal in place to make a sequel to Telltale's The Walking Dead. The only key to that sequel is that I hope to God, if it does follow Clementine or / this story, that it does not involve these books in any shape or form. Any. Because you're already going to have 99% of the fan base hate the new game off the the start if you end up doing this. So Skybound, I know you guys follow my content, you watch this channel. I'm warning you right now, if you do end up doing this, where you continue this story of The Walking Dead through these books, it's over. There's no hope. Any of that. There still might not be any hope regardless, because as I said in the beginning of the video, you need to find some people that understand the story and that know what the hell they're doing. Again, I'm not going to fully blame Tilly Walden. Like I said, I think she was just the wrong person for this, and if anyone needs to be blamed, it's Skybound. There are plenty of other people that were interested, and I've seen throughout the years that would wanted to have done this, that, their art styles were great, they knew the story, and they decided to go with Tilly, who was mainly known for romance novels. Again, The Walking Dead is not a romance story, so it didn't make any sense in the first place. But, listen, Tilly's done her job, it is over. Now Skybound, what are you going to do about it? Your decision at the end of the day where you go, and I hope everyone in the community knows, Skybound's got something cooking. I've talked about this in numerous videos. We don't know what they're going to do. They have some new Walking Dead games in development, as if they're going to be Telltale related, I don't know. But we do know something is coming. So Skybound, I'm not going to hold my, thank God Deck 9's not working on after double exposure, because man, I would be, it would be over, y'all. It would be over, and we would just have to be thrown in the towel. So, listen, y'all, I'm nervous. The future is definitely, like I said, it's up in the air. But this is it, guys. I want to thank you all so much for all your support on all these reviews and the coverage of the Clementine books / comics for over these 4 years. I never would have expected that I'd be doing this on my channel, but I enjoyed the ride. And I do apologize that this almost took me a month after my initial reading to get this out to y'all. But like I said, I've had a lot of personal stuff going on. I just had my birthday a couple weeks ago and some other stuff. I just turned 27, so my real life, and I've been prioritizing my body, going to the gym. Just want to thank y'all so much for watching this review. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy this. Go for 3,000 likes on this video. Again, let me know your thoughts about this book down below, your review number, or whatever you want to do it. And where do you think The Walking Dead is going to go from here? So guys, this is it. Barring Skybound doing another disastrous mistakes with these books, or bringing Clementine back in some shape or form and through these books or comics, it'll be the last time you hopefully see me ever having to review comics / books on a gaming channel. Alright, y'all. I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Peace and love, and have a great day, guys. Bye-bye, and goodbye, Tangerine. Let's go!
If I had